How many of you have struggled with this? The little device inside our hands that's constantly begging for our attention. If you haven't seen the recent documentary on Netflix called The Social Dilemma, I highly recommend it. Because it's going to explain a lot of what we're going to talk about the rest of this week, which is what is fighting for our time. When Jesus calls us and he says, "Follow me," he's asking to put our time aside and to follow him. But there's so many things fighting for our attention. Can we put it down to chase Jesus?
Yes. Follow me. Me?
Yes, you.
Now more than ever, putting down our laptops, putting away our iPads, and disconnecting from our phones has been harder than ever. Simply, we have been so accustomed to using all of these devices to make sense of the world that we live in. Not everything that we have in our life is good for our lives. Again, I mentioned this social media documentary called Social Dilemma. It's on Netflix and you need to watch it. It's going to give you an accurate picture of who you are. Most people struggle with the idea of who they are, what they believe, and what they really want to spend time with. Well, the truth is that there is an actual platform, whether it be your Facebook or your Instagram or whatever social media account that you have. You just need to look at what gets sponsored to you. Look at the content that gets pushed towards you, because that content is going to fuel your beliefs. And if those beliefs aren't of God, those are the literal things that we need to then take an active awareness of. When I taught high school, I used to have kids get out their phones and I had them look up their screen time. In order for us to have a real accurate depiction of it, we need to face the music. We need to open it up and see, man, how much time are we actually spending on it? If you got an iPhone, there's an app for that and it's in your settings. You can go and see how much time you're spending on Facebook, Instagram, or whatever other items you have or apps you have on your phone. Now, there's nothing in scripture that says social media is bad. But just as there was conversations back then about societal issues that were causing great strife amongst believers, we're still having that conversation about social media today. We actually find a very similar conversation about food in the Bible, and it kind of correlates a lot to this. So I want to check out 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 23, where it says this: "All things are lawful, but not all things are helpful. All things are lawful, but not all things build up." The whole rest of that section of the scripture is actually talking about food. And Jesus even mentions it. He's having this argument with Pharisees and Jews about the food that we put inside of our bodies. It's not what you put into your body that makes you unclean. It's what comes out of it. But now in this digital age, we're constantly putting more and more and more into us, that what's coming out isn't necessarily what we truly want. Our statistics are alarming. Our mental health crisis is alarming. And our loneliness statistics are even more terrifying. While we consume hours and hours of digital content, we spend less and less time with loved ones, with friends. We're seeking relationships less. So when we talk about follow me, we're talking about a God who wants every part of us. See, the thing that your social media doesn't want is for you to die to yourself, because everything that we are is exemplified in our social media feed. It pushes us, it drives us to look at content that is going to feed our own beliefs, our own structure. Now, if all you're getting pushed is Christian material about Jesus, then that's great. But I'm sure if you actively reflect on it, it's probably not. Now, this isn't an easy one to take on, and I wholeheartedly understand, because I've been convicted on it looking at how much time I spend looking at my phone versus looking at the Bible, or maybe taking a friend out to lunch and having a meaningful, honest conversation. There's nothing inherently evil about social media. It's just about how much are we letting it drive into our lives, and what is actually coming out as a result of that. If you've noticed that there's something wrong with the output of our lives, I believe that's another way of Jesus calling us to him. So I want to encourage you with that today. I want to encourage you to take an honest look at the time in which you're spending on your social media. As always, I love you guys. I hope you have a fantastic day.
Yes.
Follow me.
Me?
Yes, you.
His good deeds are delicious.